Okay guys, this is going to be a pretty quick video. It's just the answers to the 11.3, 11.5 homework practice worksheet I handed out. Now, here's the thing is that I think I'm right, but book thinks it's right, so I'm going to give you both answers, and if you get the answer the book got, you can maybe explain to me tomorrow why I have a different answer. I'm going to show you my work on the following pages, so if you don't have the same answers here, you can look at the next page to see what you may have done differently. And maybe to see where I made a mistake. I have no idea. So for number 1, for A, I said the range was 467. The book says it's 408, so you decide. Then B, it says find the median in the first and third quartiles. So the median is 264. The first and third quartiles are 191 and 334. That means the interquartile range is 143, and the outlier is the 599. And again, I showed all my work on the next page so you can see where it all came from. You can pause now if you need to look at it. Number 3, the table shows the number of riders on a train each day for 2 weeks. And so we're comparing week 1 and week 2, and it says compare and contrast the measures of variation, which again are the same things that we just did up here. So when I did all those steps, I found for each week the median, the quartiles, the interquartile range, and I figured out whether or not there were any outliers. So when I did that, this is what I came out to be. And remember, I want you guys to write sentences for these compare and contrast, just because this would be a nice writing piece that I can submit to Miss Briscoe to let her see that you guys know how to write. So medians are very close. The interquartile ranges are very different. Week 1 is only 15.5, whereas week 2 is 49.5. Meaning the middle data is more spread out in week 2, because the bigger the interquartile range is, the more spread out the information is between the first quartile and the third quartile. So that's the middle set of data. Due to the higher values in week 2, the quartile 3 is much higher. Okay, so you notice that these are dealing with numbers 49 through 137, and if you found your range, you'd notice that the range is much higher for week 2 as well. So again, here's the work that I showed for that. For 11.4, for the number 3 there, my mean absolute deviation for bears was 1.84, and for saints was 1.44. When again I wrote out my written comparing the variations, I said that the mean absolute deviation for the saints wins is less than that for the bears. The data for the saints wins are closer together than the data for the bears wins. And you notice that we go from 7 to 13 here for bears, but when we're doing saints, we're almost going in order. We've got 10, then 12, 13, 14, 15. And you have to put them in alphabetical or numerical order to see that, but I like to do that anytime I'm doing this work. And you'll see again, my work for number 3 is right here. And I had to tweak it a little bit because I made a mistake. Then for number 4, 5, 6, we have the fuel economy miles per gallon. We have the mean absolute deviation as 4.5 miles per gallon. For number 5, ask how many values are closer than one mean absolute deviation. So if you see in my work over here, I figured out what my range would be. It would be between, and actually I messed up, but it would be between, no, hold on, subtracting, let's say 0.6, so it would be 28.6 through 37.6. So basically anything between 28.6 and 37.6 is the range I'm looking for one mean deviation. And so there's 7 values, and I circled them here in the little table to show you which values they were. But 7 values are less than one mean deviation away. Number 6 says which value is the farthest from the mean. That would be 48. Now, this is another one where I didn't agree, and I can't figure out where I'm making a mistake, but it says how far is this value from the mean. I had come up with the mean being 33.1, and so I subtracted both my 48.0 and that 23, and I found that it was 14.9. miles per gallon. So, and they were saying it's 10.4. I don't know even where they're getting 10.4 from. So maybe you guys can enlighten me. Because I have to go home soon here. It's already 4:08. So it says 11.5, find the measure of center that best represents each set of data, mean, median, or mode, and then round to the nearest tenth if necessary, which of course I messed up on number 3 because I didn't read carefully. But my number 1 is the median is the best one because 68 is a high number. So whenever we're dealing with high numbers, mean isn't going to, when we have one high number or very low number compared to the rest, an extreme. And I did my little notes up here that I like doing on my extra page here, where mean is no extreme values, median has extreme values or no big gaps in the middle, and then mode is they have many repeated numbers. You go through it in that order. If it can work for mean, then we're going to do mean. If it doesn't work for mean, then we go down to mode. Does it work for mode? And go from there. So we end up using median, and it's 45, and we do that because 68 is a bigger number, and you're skipping. I know that you're going from 39 in the 40s, and then the 50, and then up to 60, but you notice that we're going 39 to 51, and then all of a sudden we're jumping to 68, and so that's kind of a big jump. Let's see. And then number 2, I used median again. And, every one of these, I put them in order from least to greatest before I did anything with it because I figured might as well get a jump start on it. If it's median or mode, I'm going to need to do it anyway. So I just went with it. So I just wanted to mention for number 2 that there are, 3 10s and there are 2 8s, but 3 out of this whole amount here, which I think is, 12? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so 3 out of 10 isn't really that big of an amount. It's not like the majority of the information, so I'm not going to use mode in these cases because median would work, okay? And the reason that I'm using median instead of mean is because of this big number 48 here. All right, so then number 3, I came up with the mean of 17.63 repeating, which when you round it to the nearest tenth is 17.6. And I used mean because there were no extreme values. It went from 3 to 35, but it kind of gradually got there. And when you put it in order from least to greatest, you kind of see that it gradually goes places rather than jumping from, 58 to 60, 51 to 68. These are really gradual. From each number to each number. It's not like it's increasing by 10 out of nowhere. Then number 4, I also used mean because, again, there is no extremes. And I added them together, divided by 8, because that's how many values there were, and said 3 was my average. Okay, so there was no answer that was mode for these. And the only one that you might have gotten a little caught up on would have been number 2. But, again, it's not enough of the data, okay? If it were 5 out of the 5 were 10, then I would say 10 would be a good representation of the center. But in this case, we can do the median and find out 12, and that makes more sense since we've got, some 20s and 40s there. All right, so that is the end. If you have any questions, please make sure you come in ready to ask them tomorrow so I can address them. Maybe, if the majority of the class doesn't need the help on that, then I can just hand out the quizzes and set aside with you and go over the test or go over those questions. All right, guys, thank you so much. I'll see you in school. Bye.